Some operations are remembered for their force, others for their daring, but the truly brilliant ones are those where the most powerful weapon wasn't a gun but the mind. This is the story of one such mission, where Indian intelligence officers stepped into the heart of a fortified shrine, not to fight, but to listen, to watch, and to bring it down from within. This is the story of Operation Black Thunder, a masterstroke of intelligence that avoided another national tragedy. By 1908, the unthinkable had happened again. For the second time in less than 10 years, the Golden Temple, Sikhism's holiest shrine, was under control of armed groups. The country held its breath. The painful memories of 1984's Operation Blue Star, a bloody military assault that left deep scars on the Sikh community, was still fresh. Another violent entry into the temple felt dangerously close. But this time, things were different. This time, the Indian government had a quiet advantage. It had eyes and ears inside. India's Intelligence Bureau had pulled off something extraordinary. They had entered the heart of the complex without anyone noticing. To understand why Operation Black Thunder turned out so differently, we first need to revisit what went wrong in 1984. Operation Blue Star was a direct military operation launched to remove Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale and his followers, who had fortified the Golden Temple complex. While the mission achieved its tactical objective, it came at a massive emotional cost. The Akal Takht was heavily damaged. Hundreds died, including civilians, and the Sikh community across the world was left deeply hurt. Rather than calming the situation, the event only intensified emotions and widened the gap between the state and the people of Punjab. The years that followed were full of tension. By 1988, different armed groups had once again taken position inside the temple complex. They had weapons, influence, and were using the location as a command center. The situation was delicate. The government was stuck between two terrible choices: risk another military operation or allow things to spiral further out of control. What they needed was a completely new approach, one that relied on patience, intelligence, and precision. Even before Operation Blue Star, intelligence officials had discussed alternative approaches. Back in early 1984, RAW had suggested Operation Sundown, a covert mission to abduct Bhindranwale using commandos, possibly avoiding violence. But that plan was never approved, and the military path was chosen instead. Now in 1988, lessons had been learned. This time, intelligence-led planning was the top priority. The government wanted to know everything before making a move: how many were inside, how heavily armed they were, how strong their morale was, and how long they could hold out. And for this, they needed someone inside. That someone was Ajit Doval, a name that would go on to become one of the most respected in India's security establishment. At the time, he was an officer with the Intelligence Bureau. According to many accounts, he went undercover in Amritsar. Some say he posed as a rickshaw puller, slowly learning the environment. He eventually made contact with the groups inside, pretending to be a Pakistani agent there to support their cause. He won their trust. He stayed among them. He quietly observed their defenses, their routines, their conversations. He learned about their internal divisions, their shortages, and their weakening discipline. It was extremely dangerous. One wrong step and his identity would be exposed. But he remained unnoticed, passing on everything he learned to his team outside. The intelligence gathered by Doval and others completely changed the plan. Instead of launching a large-scale operation, the security forces prepared a slow, calculated siege. At the center of it all was K.P.S. Gill, the tough and strategic Director General of Punjab Police. Under his leadership, the plan was to pressure the occupants from the outside, not to storm in, but to wait them out. Using the inside information, the National Security Guard was able to position snipers around the complex, knowing exactly where the weapons were likely placed. The commandos even built a replica of the Golden Temple to practice every move, down to the last step. This time it wasn't about overwhelming firepower, it was about control. The government was confident enough to allow media coverage throughout, a direct contrast to the blackout during Blue Star. They wanted transparency, they wanted to do it right. On May 9th, 1988, Operation Black Thunder 2 began. But not with a bang. NSG commandos covering their heads and walking barefoot to respect the sanctity of the temple quietly took control of the perimeter. From surrounding rooftops, snipers kept watch, waiting patiently. Every move was calculated. Then came psychological pressure. Electricity and water to the complex were cut. The heat of May was unforgiving. Food was running out. Loudspeakers requested those inside to surrender peacefully. From outside, the pressure built slowly but steadily. And inside, those occupying the complex began to feel it. Within days, the plan began working. Unlike 1984, when fighters had resisted until the end, this time, many inside began giving up. On May 15th, a major moment arrived. Over 140 people, including some family members, walked out of the temple and surrendered. The plan had worked. By May 18th, it was over. The complex was cleared. A few had to be taken down in crossfire, but the damage to the holy site was minimal. Civilians were unharmed. The mission had succeeded without turning the shrine into a battlefield. Operation Black Thunder was a turning point. It proved that intelligence and strategy could solve what brute force could not. The individuals inside had been shown to the public not as heroes but as people using a sacred space for violence. Public opinion began to shift. Trust in the security forces slowly returned. The operation didn't end Punjab's troubles overnight, but it helped turn the tide. It showed that calm thinking, precise intelligence, and cultural sensitivity could prevent disaster. And at the heart of it all was a man walking silently through a complex full of guns, armed only with information and nerves of steel. Operation Black Thunder is remembered not just for what it achieved, but how it was done. It avoided violence, respected faith, and showed the power of planning. While many names remain hidden, it's a story of brave intelligence officers who worked in silence and succeeded without glory. Let us know in the comments. Do you think this kind of approach should be the future of counter-terror operations? If you liked this story and want more hidden truths from Indian history, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching and stay curious.